Good, happy Monday evening, January 3rd, 2022. I'm Riley King. Welcome to this Monday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Monday evening, so let's get started right now. First, we begin tonight with your weather. Winter storm threatens East Coast. Let's take a listen to that video from CBS News.
And for more on the winter storms and what lies ahead, CBS's Lonnie Quinn joins us now. Well, good evening. Happy New Year, Lonnie. So I understand some of the highest snow totals were right here in the nation's capital.
Yeah, you bet you, Nora. You picked up over 8 inches of snow there in the capital. Crazy to think about a storm that puts down more snow in portions of Alabama than it does in portions of Massachusetts. Look at this. Huntsville, Alabama picked up 6 inches of snow. Biggest number you're going to find anywhere. In portions of Virginia picking up 14.6. Your exact reading in Washington, D.C., you had 8.2. Take a peek at Atlantic City coming in with 13 inches, 8.5, excuse me, for Washington, D.C., but it was a sharp cutoff. Philadelphia picked up only 1.8. New York City had nothing out there. Radar picture is going to show you this storm is moving offshore, so we're done with this. It was all made possible by a big drop in temperatures. You wouldn't have a snowstorm yesterday because it was 33 degrees warmer in D.C. than it was today. And Tallahassee, no snow for you today. It was 46, but it was 75 degrees yesterday. So are we going to see more snow? As we look ahead, the computer models show us it really stays dry out there, but it stays cold. By the time we get to Friday, that's where we could see another snowstorm, and it could be coming across the same path that this one just traveled. That's the latest, Nora. Enjoy your snowstorm you got there.
I know, too late for sledding already tonight. All right, Lonnie Quinn, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video. Also, the winter storm and COVID surge cause travel chaos. Let's take a listen to that video from CBS News.
We've got new information tonight about the biggest snowstorm to hit the mid-Atlantic in years and the latest on the travel chaos across the country. Airlines canceled more than 3,000 flights today due to a combination of COVID-related staff shortages and severe winter storms. A fast-moving storm system dropped up to 10 inches of snow right here in the nation's capital, forcing grounded planes at 2 D.C. area airports. The total number of flight cancellations since Christmas Eve topped 15,000, and airlines are warning it is not over yet. There may be another storm coming later this week, so we've got more on that in just a minute. Well, the weather is piling on an already stressed industry dealing with pandemic staff shortages. Some airlines are now offering double and even triple pay for staff who are willing to pick up additional flights. CBS's Errol Barnett is here with the very latest on all this. Good evening, Errol.
Good evening, Nora. This winter storm has been consequential. It dumped the highest amount of snow in this part of the country in more than 3 years. It grounded aircraft across the country. And for many, it made the first Monday of the new year far from painless. And for too many folks, that pain is far from over. This winter storm started the year with a vengeance.
It's snowing.
Snow falling as far south as Florida. As much as 10 inches blanketed much of the mid-Atlantic, cutting power to more than 420,000 Virginia customers after putting pressure on tree limbs over power lines. The state police there reporting almost 560 crashes and road incidents throughout the day, while business in the nation's capital came to a standstill. The storm was powerful enough to almost ground the commander-in-chief. Air Force One landing at Joint Base Andrews in wind-whipped snow, forcing President Biden to return from his Delaware vacation via motorcade. Unelected flyers had fewer options.
Extremely frustrating.
Since his flight was canceled at Reagan National, Mark Barker has been trying to get his family back to Des Moines, Iowa since yesterday.
We just found out that we're going to stay another night here. So next up is to find another hotel to stay tonight.
The storm only added pressure to airlines still suffering from thin staffing due to the ongoing spread of COVID. As a result, more than 3,000 flights were canceled today. That's in addition to more than 5,000 over the weekend. United Airlines is now offering pilots 3 times their base pay to work from tomorrow to January 29th.
This is affecting all airlines.
Travel analyst Henry Hardevelt warns the end may not be in sight.
I think that we will continue to see airlines reduce their schedules, not just over the next 2 weeks, but perhaps throughout January.
And to that point, JetBlue has already cut its schedule over the next half month because of COVID-related staffing pressures, and it is now advising customers to arrive at the airport, get this, 3 hours before flights take off. And now that the snow has ended, Nora, dangerous icy conditions are expected to emerge overnight.
All right, Errol Barnett with the latest. Thank you, Errol.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at the weather across the United States for this evening. As you can see in Boston, it'll be 17 degrees. New York City, 22 degrees. In Atlanta, 28 degrees. Jacksonville, Florida, 46 degrees. Tampa Bay, Florida, 48 degrees. In Miami, Florida, 63 degrees. In Dallas, 31 degrees. In Las Vegas, 28 degrees. Los Angeles, 40 degrees. Phoenix, 39 degrees. San Francisco, 51 degrees. That is a look at the weather across the United States for this evening. Happy Monday evening, everyone. Trump's subpoenaed in New York civil probe. Let's take a listen to that video from CBS News.
Well, we learned today that New York's Attorney General subpoenaed former President Trump's 2 eldest children, Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka Trump, in connection with an ongoing civil investigation. Attorney General Letitia James is seeking testimony as well as documents as her office investigates whether the Trump Organization inflated the value of its properties.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Millions return to school despite COVID surge. Let's take a listen to that video from CBS News.
Delivering the right message at the right time isn't always easy. But with Vonage SMS API, it's seamless. Program.
We want to turn now to the COVID pandemic and a concerning new number. Actually, for the first time since September, more than 100,000 Americans are being treated for COVID in hospitals. And on Sunday, we learned that Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin became the highest-ranking official in the Biden administration to test positive. Austin says he's had 3 COVID shots and is experiencing mild symptoms. CBS's Meg Oliver has more now, including big news tonight on boosters for kids.
Tonight, as more children enter the hospital infected with the Omicron variant, the FDA says those as young as 12 can now get a 3rd dose or booster of the Pfizer vaccine. Despite surging COVID cases, millions of children returned to school today, including in New York City.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen day to day. We are staying open. We're going to do everything that we have to do to keep our schools open.
The city is doubling the number of students tested in each school and providing an additional 2 million test kits.
How are you?
In Washington, D.C., the number of new cases jumped 331% in the last 2 weeks. The nation's second-largest school system, Los Angeles Unified, has ordered students and staff to undergo mandatory COVID testing before classes resume next week. But out of more than 13,000 school districts in the country, less than 150 have decided to start the semester with all remote learning. Paterson, New Jersey, is one of them.
I think that it's a good thing that the children are going to be home.
Tiffany Jacobs has 5 kids in the Paterson School District.
I'd rather my kids be safe and not get sick.
And new questions over the CDC's isolation guidelines. Last week, the agency reduced the isolation period for asymptomatic positive cases from 10 days to 5, but did not require a negative test. After much criticism, the White House's top medical advisor says the CDC is now reconsidering.
Looking at it again, there may be an option in that testing could be a part of that. And I think we're going to be hearing more about that in the next day or so from the CDC.
Here in Patterson, remote learning will begin tomorrow morning until January 18th. Meantime, the FDA announced today everyone eligible for the Pfizer booster can get one as early as 5 months instead of 6. Nora?
It is big news. Meg Oliver, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Americans still divided over Capitol attack. Let's take a listen to that video from CBS News.
Well, as the country prepares to mark the anniversary of the deadly January 6th assault on the Capitol, there's a new warning tonight from the Department of Homeland Security, FBI, and Capitol Police. This new Joint Intelligence Bulletin says threat actors will try to exploit the anniversary to promote or possibly commit violence, although they say there is no credible threat at this hour. CBS's Nicole Killian reports tonight on the sharply divided views of the American public 1 year later.
Tonight, the Capitol buried in a blanket of white, preparing to mark one of the darkest days in U.S. history. Nearly a year since the insurrection, a new CBS News poll found the country is still divided, with 85% of Democrats calling it just that, while roughly half of Republicans said it was patriotism and defending freedom. 2/3 of respondents said democracy is under threat and fear more political violence.
In terms of democracy being healed, it feels like we're even more divided than we've ever been.
Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger sits on the House Select Committee investigating the attack, which will resume hearings this winter.
What we can do is give the American people a full accountability.
Panel members say they have a growing body of evidence that multiple people reached out to former President Trump, including his daughter Ivanka, to urge him to intervene to stop the violence.
The committee has firsthand testimony that President Trump was sitting in the dining room next to the Oval Office watching on television as the Capitol was assaulted, as the violence occurred.
The panel isn't ruling out a criminal referral for the former president or additional subpoenas to lawmakers as part of its probe. The Justice Department is also ramping up prosecutions of the more than 725 individuals who have been arrested. 165 have pleaded guilty, though only 31 have been sentenced to jail time.
Some House Republicans are downplaying former President Trump's role and dismiss the committee's work as partisan. An observance is planned here at the Capitol Thursday, where President Biden will speak. Nora?
Nicole Killian, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Have a great evening, and see you back here tomorrow evening for another broadcast. Good night and goodbye.